as I mentioned in the previous video, in this Max Lang idea is a modern interpretation. We've looked at old games, and I want to show you a game just to prove that I play these lines that I played against former world number 2 and a bit of a superstar, Kamsky. This was played in, I believe, February of 2021. It was an online tournament due to COVID, blitz game, so it wasn't perfect, but it shows you how theory is somewhat developed. I had the white pieces, and we played down familiar territory with our normal moves of now playing d4. And now, after my very experienced and very strong opponent, Kamsky, took on d4, originally from Russia, but now resides in America. Like I say, he's played for the World Championships a couple of times. He's world number 2, I think, at one moment in his career. And now we just continue what we've already seen, castles. And here, I don't play the dubious Kamsky gambit because I know a player of this class will be able to refute it. I played a move which I have a lot of faith in, Rook E1, playing in the spirit of Paul Morphy, as we saw in the first game. D5 forced. We continue in normal fashion. We have to keep the pressure up. Our knight now comes out, and in this position, the queen has numerous squares that it can go to. Now, again, this is not really a theoretical course. I've already done that for Chessable and the Grandmaster Gambits. If you want to learn how to play all these lines, go and check out the Grandmaster Gambits, even in the free short and sweet version. If you haven't got any money, that's fine. You can learn about the options here. The 2 main options are being Queen H5, Queen A5, but even Queen D7 is a move. But the third most popular is the move my opponent played, Queen to D8, just bringing the queen back. Now, when the black queen stays so centralized, we have to think what we're going to capture on E4 with. And in this position, we should capture with the rook, giving a check. Had the queen gone to either A5 or to H5, it's correct to take with the knight because the queen here is a little bit offside and it can't give us much protection to the middle of the board. And this keeps the Morphy themes flowing with ideas of the knight coming in, bishop coming to G5. But when the queen goes back to D8, it's correct to take with the rook. Very simple approach. And we're not even gambiting now, as we can take back on D4 with our knight, and this gives us a nice small advantage. And it shows how much danger this position has to opponents when they can easily fall into this. Black now castled. Had he taken my knight, he gets in a very nasty position after rook takes, when whatever he plays, I'm castled, I've got good development, and he's going to be putting himself in a pin, and this is a nice advantage to white. He hasn't castled. So Kamsky took the opportunity to castle here, but now I simply took on C6, damaging Kamsky's pawn structures, and this is following my recommendations in Grandmaster Gambits. Just a couple of weeks before this game was played, there was another high-level encounter between the New Age Macau Tao, Daniil Dubov. This guy's a legendary player, and just as legendary, his opponent, Anish Giri. So an encounter between 2 of the strongest players in the world. And in that game, white first played this move, bishop f4. And this is very similar. After bishop f6, Dubov got an advantage by taking on c6. The queens came off. And now just playing rook c4. And this is more positional, this kind of game. Maybe not quite as much fun, but we're still got a nice edge. We're going to try to home in, win some pawns with a nice position. And we can see that Dubov was doing very well here. I preferred to keep it simpler by damaging those pawns immediately. And now the queen cannot be exchanged because then the bishop won't be defended. So he has to capture here. And now I just very simply took off the queen and played bishop f4. I'm developed. My opponent's not developed. I have a better pawn structure and I have some pawns to attack. And the key move is rook to c4 here. Attacking this pawn here. My opponent grabs a pawn on c2, but the reason I'm better here, and this is a little positional motif, is that these pawns are split. I would say they're like friends, which can't help each other out, like not brothers in arms, they're split brothers. These pawns, on the other hand, can protect each other. For example, if I move b3, the a pawn defends it. And they can do that for the rest of the game. If I go a3, the b pawn defends it. Then I go b4, the a pawn defends it. Then if I get the pawn here, they can defend each other forever. On the other hand, the black pawns on a7 and c7, they just can't do that. They can't defend each other. They're sitting there undefended and targets. So I'm certainly better. So let's just have a look. And there was one moment I wanted to show you a little bit later on, where after bishop f5, I now went a pawn up by taking here. My opponent played rook c8. Do bear in mind this is a 3-minute game. We both only had 3 minutes each for the whole game. Very easy to blunder in such a situation. And now I have to defend this one, so I bring my knight in. And if I get my last piece to this square, I'm simply a pawn up. Kamsky kept me under some pressure with bishop e4. But now I used a nice little tactic. Bishop takes d8. And the point behind this is after I drop my rook, I use a check. And I can take the rook back. And we get into an ending where I'm a pawn up. So the opening has been a total success. These endings are very hard to win, though, because bishops of opposite color, it means that the likelihood of a draw in the ending is much higher. It was ex-world champion Boris Spassky, and I feel this demonstrates bishops of opposite color. You can see they never can connect. They're always living in parallel universes there. They are just drifting past each other in the wind. They can never meet. They can glance over at the other one and say hello, but they can never, ever touch. If the bishops were on the same color squares, they could obviously connect with each other, but they can't here. And it was ex-world champion Boris Spassky who famously lost his crown to Bobby Fischer in 1972 in Reykjavik in the famous match of the century World Championships. When he got divorced from his wife, a journalist afterwards asked him what went wrong, and he used the analogy. He just said, we were just like bishops of opposite color. Hopefully I'll never have to use that one. I'm sure I won't. But I thought it was quite an amusing way to use chess as an analogy for a tough time in life. And now after some more moves, we got to a critical moment. a6 was played, and we can play a little bit more. I brought my rook in, rook d6, and now I'm very close to be winning. If I can win one more pawn, that would be enough. But after rook a8, I missed my opportunity here. And I want to see if you can do better than me now. In the game, I played f4, which was a weak move. And this allowed Kamsky to slowly push this pawn. And then he was able to simplify all the pawns on the queen side, and a draw was agreed. But what move could I have played here to have kept the advantage? Can you do better than me? Pause now. Well, it was an amazing idea here of trying to win this pawn by means of bishop a7. And this is a stunning tactical idea. The bishop cannot be taken because of the weakness of the back rank. You can get a little bit back spanked there. Rook takes bishop, rook there is checkmate. So this cannot happen. And the simple threat that I have here is just to take that pawn with my rook. And if black ever tries something like rook c8 to cause his own ideas, I can just give my king a bit of breathing space. And we can see now that that pawn is going to drop. If he pushes it forwards, I can come behind it. And there's no way that black can efficiently stop me taking that pawn on my next move with an easily winning position. So missed opportunity for me there, but that is kind of the latest way to play the Max Lang attack. And it works. It works against some of the best players in the world.